Men, welcome. Glad you're here. Appreciate your patience. I am very excited to be sharing with you today something I'm very passionate about. Fact is, most of us have been wasting our time when it comes to getting fit. Today you're going to learn about why you've been wasting your time, what you've been doing wrong, and how to fix it. In fact, we're going to show you how you can actually have a better body now when you're 40 or 50 years old than you did even when you were 25. This is Dr. James Dickey. I'm coming to you from Olathe, Kansas, and let's get right to it. Today you're going to learn exactly why your workouts aren't working, exactly why what you're eating isn't doing it for you, and why you still don't have the body that you want and the vitality that you know you deserve. Here's a problem. Actually, the problem isn't even what you think it is. The problem doesn't have a whole lot to do with how you eat or work out. It has mostly to do with the factor that no one really knows anything about. Well, I shouldn't say no one, but most people have no clue about this. Yet it's the most critical thing to you getting healthy and fit and buff. So why are people clueless? Well, the medical industry really doesn't understand it or teach it in general. There are exceptions, me being one of them. And the fitness industry doesn't really get it either. So it's not really common knowledge. There's actually some advertising going on around now that's dancing around this issue, but again, it's not out there in the open. Today we're going to reveal it to you, and it's going to be exciting what you can create. So with the information you're going to get today, you can create the best body of your whole life. I am currently 46 years old, and no doubt in the best body of my life. You can create the best body of your life with six-pack abs. You can do it in 6 months. You don't have to exercise any more than 5 hours a week, and you do not have to starve yourself. Here's a quick example of what I've been able to do for myself. Isn't that fascinating? At age 39, I was 185 pounds, 19% body fat. At age 44, 205 and 9% body fat. I'm now about 207 and 8% body fat at age 46, and get better by the month. So, are you ready to feel unstoppable? Are you craving vitality? Do you know what it feels like to thrive? You probably do, but it's been a couple decades. I want to show you how you can feel vigorous and alive and truly unstoppable. Remember that Reebok slogan that used to be on shirts back when we were kids? Yeah, I like that. That's who I am. That's who I'm being. That's who I want to show you how to be. So what I'm offering is for you if you care. Here's the deal. You care, or you wouldn't be watching this. I mean, you've been working out. You've been eating right. You've been reading the books. You've been hiring a physical trainer. You've been doing whatever you can to try and get fit. And yet here you are still frustrated. You can't see your abs. Your energy isn't what it's supposed to be. Your libido is less than fabulous. You feel sluggish in the morning. Sometimes all day you feel tired. You're just not there. So what I'm offering for you is for you because you care. You care about your body. You want something better, and you just don't know how to get there. And most importantly, you're finally truly serious about doing whatever it takes to having an epic life and a fabulous body and standing up and walking in your own power. So during the next 30 minutes or so, I'm going to show you how to create, show you the exact roadmap to show you where you got to go, to show you how to get there. You're going to know exactly what you need to do. Does that sound exciting? Well, it is. So let's do it. Today, you're going to get a clear understanding of why what you're doing currently isn't working and what to do to correct it. And even more important than that, how to sustain it so that it's not a flash in the pan, but you're awesome now, and in 1 year, and in 5 years, and in 10 years, and in 30 years. You just keep getting better. Here's the problem. After age 30, you're fighting against nature. You're fighting against nature because genetically, we are programmed to reproduce. Our genes evolved to propagate themselves, not to create longevity and thriving. So once you get to your reproductive peak, you start dying. You feel it, You know what I'm talking about. Fact is, your genetics are not designed for years and years of thriving. So everyone, if you're past the age of, say, 25 or 30, you're on this natural downward slide. Ultimately, the problem is you're normal. Normal. Who wants to be normal, right? I've never aspired to be normal. And if you're with me on this webinar, I'm suspecting you're with me. You don't really care about normal either. You want to be awesome. So here, this is a critical point to understand. Normal or natural is not the same thing as healthy or optimal. Unless you're 16, maybe. Not the same. So get that in your head. We're going to come back to that a little bit more. Oh, this is just kind of a funny thing I put in here. When I was in high school, there was a guy that had a boat on the lake out there at Tuttle Creek Lake in near Manhattan, Kansas, and had this slogan, "You're much too young to feel this damn old," on the back of it. And the guy had written a song that Garth Brooks made into a big hit, and had it on the back of his boat. I was a teenager back then, so it didn't mean much to me. But since then, I've been able to resonate with this slogan, and I'm much too young, and I don't feel old anymore, not at all. You don't have to either. So who wants to be a normal 40-year-old something? Here's kind of a funny little story about what's typical. I'm sure you can resonate with some of this. So you wake up in the morning, your alarm goes off, and you feel like you've barely been in bed for a couple hours. You got a pain in your neck, you got a stiff neck, your knee hurts. You remember when you were a kid and your dad or your grandpa got out of a chair and took 5 or 10 steps before he could stand up straight, and here you are doing the same thing, and you're thinking, what in the world happened to me? You get up and you get in the bathroom, you sit down to pee because you're too dang tired to stand up long enough for your bladder to drain, which is draining way too slow now than it used to. This morning you wake up, you got a chill, you're feeling chilly, even though yesterday you woke up all sweaty. You're thinking, what in the world is going on with me? And you can't even remember the last time you had sex that was really awesome, fulfilling, and relational. You can't find your car keys. You're so frustrated that you keep forgetting stuff. And there's this nagging thought in the back of your mind that, what am I forgetting on my way out the door this morning? So what's the cost of your misinformation? Who wants to look like Richard Simmons, right? Not me. The cost of wrong thinking is that you get to stay normal. And if you're like me, you don't want nothing to do with normal. You've been diligently working out, you're not getting the results you want. You work harder, get fatter anyway. You've tried lots of different exercise programs, hired different trainers, tried different diets. And what it feels like is you're pouring gasoline on a pile of wet wood. You ever try that? Try to get a fire started and the wood's wet, you put gasoline on it, flares up for a few seconds, the gasoline's gone, the wood still ain't on fire. That's what happens when you're doing all the right stuff and your internal environment is not right. We're going to talk about that here momentarily. The trouble is your ignorance is actually accelerating your natural aging process. I mean that, accelerating it. You're working hard to work out in the gym and eat right. In many cases, it's actually making things worse, not better. So what it comes down to is having a misunderstanding, thinking wrongly, is keeping you out of the best body. And I don't care if you're 45 or 50, you can, with what we're teaching today, you can have a better body, better vitality than you ever had, even at age 25. So you may be thinking to yourself, if I could just get myself to eat right, exercise regularly, cut out the extra work hours, decrease the stress, get my wife to exercise with me every day, et cetera, I'd feel better. And I'm saying, not bloody likely. Those are all external fixes that aren't going to work. Your mindset's killing you. It's keeping you stuck. You're spending time, money, and energy on something that does not work. And you know it, you feel it. Like we said, if you're over 30, internally, what's going on inside your body, your internal trigger system, your hormones, your biomarkers, your various peptides and signalers internally, they're already failing you. So doing stuff externally is not going to work until you get the internal environment right. But when you correct what's failing you inside your body, here's what happens. You feel powerful. You feel awesome during a workout. You see your body transforming. Man, was it exciting for me when I first figured this out. That transformation I showed you earlier occurred in about 6 months, even though I showed you like a 5 or 6 year before and after. But the actual transformation only took about 6 months. And man, was that exciting to just see my body come back to better than it had ever been. You know, when I go to the gym, I get excited. I'm going to descend on the gym. I'm not dragging my butt in there. I'm going in there to make it happen, to kill it. Man, that feels good. You really will expand. You'll sizzle. There's this zeal that returns. There's this wake of influence and an attraction that follows you. You can't see it, but you can feel it when you walk into the gym, when you're walking into the nightclub, when you're walking down the street, when you're showing up at work. When you walk in, there's this unseen but strongly felt confidence and presence that commands attention. And when you get all this dialed in, this is what happens. It feels so awesome. So why listen to me? What do I know, right? Here's the deal. I've got a comprehensive fund of knowledge. I've been practicing family medicine and emergency medicine for 2 decades. And those 2 fields of medicine are the broadest in the whole in all of medicine. So I have a huge fund of knowledge, being able to handle anything and everything that walks in the ER. Secondly, for the last 7 years, I've been practicing anti-aging medicine. And this is my true passion. My true passion is the art and science of anti-aging for myself and for my clientele. And I live it. Here again is my one of my before and afters I was going to show you. Again, that I think that tells the story. Gained 20 pounds while losing 9% body fat. You can do that and more. So I've done it for myself. I'm continuing doing it for myself. This year my goal is to get another 10 plus pounds of muscle and do my first actual bodybuilding show. I've done it for other people too. Here's one of my patients who lost 60 pounds in just over 3 months. Look at the transformation. Look at his face. It's not just that he lost his gut. He's younger. And actually, if you're curious, I can show you a video on YouTube that I've got a testimony from him talking about how much younger he feels and how it drastically changed his life in so many ways. And it's good for older guys too. Here's one of my mentors who you can look at his progression from. He didn't start until much later in life. He was almost 60 before he started getting fit. And yet, look what he's been able to do later in life. So I told you I would show you how to create the best body that you've ever had, even if you're 40 or 50 or years older. And you can do it with less than 5 hours a week. It doesn't take tons and tons of exercise to do this. And you can also eat food you enjoy. So remember, we told you this is the goal. So let's get right to what it takes. First of all, let me just paint you a bit of a picture here. So I've done this a bit already for you, but imagine it's a year from now, and imagine you've lost, say, 30 pounds of fat. You've gained about 15, 20 pounds of muscle. Your body fat's running right around 10, 12%. You can see your abs for the first time in decades. You wake up in the morning with this sense of vigor and fire. You get excited to get up and go do what you do. At work, you just command more power. If you're in sales, you find that you don't have to work as hard. The sales get attracted to you. With your wife or with your girlfriend or with women in general, if you're not married, you find that there's this ease that you have now where there's this attraction. And it's not because of your body, certainly that's a foundation, but it's because of the confidence. That's the way you walk. It's the way you hold yourself because you're so thrilled with who you are. That's where we're going. And if that excites you, let's go there together. So let's talk about the details of what it takes to get the internal environment correct so it's going to work. So molecular triggering hormones and other internal signals. Our cells of our body of which there are trillions, are constantly dying and being replaced with fresh cells. Here's an illustration. Think of a like the wall of China. The wall of China is not the best example, but a long brick wall, and there's a group of masons that's building the wall. I'm sorry, the wall's been there for a long time. There's a group of masons that's removing some of the old cracked bricks, and right behind them is another group of masons that put new bricks in. Well, this is like our body. The trouble is that after age about 30, the masons that are removing the bad bricks are outrunning the masons that are replacing the bad bricks with fresh bricks. And so your wall is being slowly deconstructed. It's falling apart faster than it's being rebuilt. We can change that because our hormones influence everything. Whenever I see a guy with depression, before I think about Prozac, before I think about sending him to a counselor, I'm going to check his testosterone level. Immune function. Your hormones affect your immune function. Your immune function is critical. Cancer, for example. Every single cancer is because of a failing of your immune system. In fact, our bodies have mutations every single day that could turn into cancers. But our immune system is going around scouring and looking for problems and removing them before they become a problem. So when someone gets a cancer that becomes a tumor that becomes a problem, it's because their immune system missed it when it was 1 or 2 or 3 cells or a tiny little cluster when it could have been easily fixed. Your hormones influence how you heal, influence how you sleep, your drives, your motivations, obviously sex drive and drive to perform and work and get out and have fun, just the drive to have fun. How many of you find that, you're kind of apathetic? What used to thrill you, you just don't have much fire for it anymore. Maybe you used to love to golf and now it almost feels like work to get out there and do it. Or maybe you used to really love to work on your hot rod, and now that car's sat out there for 2 years and you haven't touched it. I don't know. But all those things are influenced by hormones. Also intelligence, just the way you think is related to what's going on inside your body. There's some fascinating studies on hormone optimization and how it affects intelligence, and it has a very positive effect when you get that optimized. You really problem solve, make decisions, to be sharp. Every imaginable disease process, it's all related to what's going on inside your body, related to hormones and other signalers. Let's go through clear up some myths about health and fitness. I've put together 5 here that I think are salient. So we'll just go through them real quickly, and then we'll go through them one to one. So myth number 1, exercise is the key to health. That's false. Myth number 2, you are what you eat. That's false. Myth number 3, getting old means getting fragile, fat, and sloppy. Doesn't have to be. Myth number 4, it's the stress that's killing me. Again, I beg to differ. Myth number 5, optimizing your hormones equals a lifetime of dependence. This is a big one. Some of you may be really big on this, and some people really may not even know what I'm talking about, but we'll get to that here momentarily. So let's go through the myths one at a time. Exercise is the key to health. The truth is, exercise can actually accelerate aging. The truth is, it's what happens after exercise inside your body that can make you strong and healthy if it's working correctly. And the truth is, it's your body ability to respond and adapt to exercise that is what heals you. And after age 30, it's decreasing fast. It's decreasing fast. So the trouble is, when you go into CrossFit, for example, and you kill a hard workout, if you are not internally optimal with hormones and other signaling factors, that work, instead of producing a big boost of natural growth hormone and testosterone, that work in the gym produces mostly just a big boost of cortisol, which is a stress hormone, which makes you feel good short term, but long term, it tears your body up, and you wear out, and you get prone to injury, and your muscles don't grow, and you get tired. And it's not because you did a poor workout. It's not because your motivation wasn't good enough. It's because internally your body wasn't prepared to respond to the exercise the way it's supposed to. The frustration of believing this myth, like we said, you wake up early, you get to the gym, you work your body. You're willing it to strengthen. You're doing the work. You push through the pain. No pain, no gain, right? You put expensive nutritional supplements in your body. You're feeding your body the jet fuel it needs. Fact is, you're actually wasting your time and accelerating your aging because internally your body is not able to process that nutrition efficiently, and it's not able to respond to exercise and heal itself. Myth 2, you are what you eat. Well, truth is you're not what you eat. You're only as good as what you can absorb and use. You're only good as what your body can actually put to use. And the other truth is you cannot eat a perfect toxin-free diet in today's environment. It is absolutely impossible. You can buy food that's organic or grass-fed beef or stuff that's not had any pesticides or fertilizers used, but the farmer that's growing that stuff a mile down the road or 10 miles down the road, there's another farmer that is using that stuff. And cross-pollination happens, and wind happens, and so there's no, in our environment, you can't breathe a breath of air anywhere on this planet that's totally pure. There's pollutants everywhere. Kind of funny, my dad used to joke about back when you could smoke in restaurants. I can remember Dad saying, because he didn't smoke and none of his, he didn't like smoke. I remember him saying the no smoking section of a restaurant is like the no peeing section of a swimming pool. Same thing with our planet. The organic field in our planet is like the no peeing section of the swimming pool. It's just, there's no such thing as truly toxin-free diet. Myth number 3, getting old means getting fragile. Well, it doesn't have to be. Getting fragile really is a direct result of diminishing level of healthy hormones. It's not the getting old, it's the hormone. It's what's going on inside. Getting old is a result of rising levels of inflammatory factors and stress hormones, while at the same time the healthy hormones are decreasing. That's the way your body does it. It loses its ability to make what's really healthy, so it starts making alternative hormones in higher amounts. It's kind of like running an afterburner in a fighter jet. It gets you gets you out of the dogfight short term, but if you use it all the time, you'll melt down your engine. That's what's happening. The truth is, it is possible to get to age well without feeling old. And the absolute truth is, it is possible to thrive all the way to your sudden death. Here's a nice illustration of that. Call it squaring the curve. So just look at that red line, for example. That might be what you consider a normal lifespan. So you hit your peak of vitality at age 21 or thereabouts, and your vitality slowly decreases, and you hit the disability zone somewhere around age 70 or 80, and then you finally die at age 90, say, for example. Well, what we're teaching here is those little black dotted lines. You can move your curve up towards that green dotted line, which is to stay at that optimal health. And the earlier you start, the easier it is. It's easier to get yourself up on that green line if you start when you're 30 or 40, that is, when you start when you're 70. But the fact is, it's really never too late to start. And wherever you are now, that's the place to start from. But again, my goal for myself and for my clientele is to do exactly that, help you square that curve so you go out with your boots on. So the 4th myth, stress is killing me. The problem isn't the stress. The problem is your body's decreasing ability to adapt, evolve, and heal itself. There's an interesting illustration I like to use here. Think about a tree. Let's say in a mall in Florida, there's a tropical tree growing in the mall indoors. And the tree's beautiful and it looks great, but it's got no stress. There's no wind. It gets exactly as much water as it needs, and they've got it placed in a place, where it's getting exactly the right amount of sun and light and stuff. And that tree will thrive to some degree inside that mall. But if you take that same tree and put it outdoors, it's going to shrivel up because it's not used to handling wind or various variations of temperature or rains and stuff. However, you take a twin of that tree, as an infant, put it outside and let it grow outside in the natural environment. Well, it grows a lot thicker, stronger trunk, and it can handle the winds and it can thrive. So, the stress of growing outdoors is not what's the problem. The stress actually makes you stronger. Now, there is such thing as a stress that is overwhelming. So, a tornado or a hurricane can kill any tree, no matter how strong it is. So there's to some degree, I suppose, stress can kill you. But most of the stress we deal with is not the problem. It's our body's ability to adapt, evolve, and heal itself. That's the problem. And that relates to what's going on inside of your body. And myth number 5, hormone optimization is the same thing as lifetime dependence on steroids or growth hormone. So, some of you may not have this problem or this myth in your mind, but because I've had so many people ask this question, I just wanted to include it here in this presentation. And it is absolutely a myth. The fact is, Hormone optimization is all about restoration to when you were at your best in your young 20s. It's not about jacking your hormones so you can hit home runs or so you can be Mr. Olympia. It's about optimizing your body back to where it was when it was at its reproductive peak. And the fact is, not optimizing your hormones will lead to dependence. In fact, you're already dependent on your hormones. You're just suffering withdrawals. You aren't making enough of them anymore. Not optimizing your hormones will absolutely lead to dependence. Dependence on prescriptions, pain medicine, blood pressure medicine, statin drugs for your cholesterol. Exactly, of all the people in the United States born in 2006, 50% will at some time in their life develop type 2 diabetes. That's lifestyle based. 99% of those people don't need to develop diabetes if they take care of themselves. But again, hormones have a huge influence here. Testosterone, for example, has a huge effect on sensitizing your body to insulin. And cortisol, of course, does the opposite, on and on. We won't go through the details, but not optimizing your hormones will lead to dependence. In some of you, it'll lead to dependence on insulin. How about that? You want to be dependent on Viagra? How about antidepressants, stimulant drugs, coffee, Red Bull? How about written reminders? Because as you age so-called naturally, and your brain function decreases, now you can't remember stuff correctly anymore. Yep, optimizing hormones can help that too. How about dependence on a failing healthcare system? Do you think the healthcare system we're living in is optimal? Do you think you want to be dependent on American healthcare in 10 or 20 or 30 years? I don't. How about being dependent on your kids because you can't take care of yourself, or you can't earn your own money anymore because you get so ailed? What about eventually being dependent on canes or walkers or wheelchairs or worse? Yeah. Optimizing your hormones is not about becoming dependent on hormones. Not optimizing hormones is about becoming dependent on everything else. And like I said, you're already dependent on your hormones anyway. You're just not making enough of them. So not correcting your failing hormones will increase your risk of every disease you can imagine. Absolutely will increase your risk of cancer, heart disease, stroke, diabetes, arthritis, and even Alzheimer's. There's some good data out there that optimizing testosterone levels in women, for example, will cut Alzheimer's in half, risk of Alzheimer's in half. And what in the world is that worth? That's invaluable. That's invaluable. And just to address the myth one bit more, for example, there's lots of hormones we need to talk about when we get into specifics, but just taking testosterone, for example, if when done correctly, in the right amounts, in frequent enough doses, and combined with the right other hormones such as HCG, you don't become, some people say, well, if I take a testosterone supplement, a cream or a shot or a pellet or whatever, then I'll never be able to get off of it. And the fact is, once you get on it and it's optimized correctly, you won't ever want to get off of it. But if it's done correctly and you supplement it with additional natural means to maintain your own natural production at what it is now, then whenever you stop the optimization program, you'll go back to where you were instead of to something less. That's a brief explanation, but I'm just telling you it's possible. So, do you want to stay normal? I don't. Are you content with the eventual dependence, or are you ready to restore your body to its optimal function so you can actually thrive? You do have a choice. You don't have to feel sick and tired. And you can feel better than you ever have. And you can get there within the next 12 months. Now, earlier on, I said 6 months to your best body. And I meant that. But for people that work with me, I expect a 12-month commitment, because even though we can make a major transformation within 6 months, you need to live in that body and master it for a full 12 months or longer before you really own it for life. And that's what matters. I don't want you to get a quick fix that just goes back to where it was. You don't have to age gracefully. You don't have to. I'm not going to. You can actually take back 20 years. If you're 45 now, you bet I can show you how to feel better than you did when you were 25. And you can go out with your boots on. You don't have to go out in a rocking chair. Here's your solution. Number one, know what's going on inside your body. Know what's going on with your hormones and all the other various factors that are important. You got to assess your hormone levels and all the other biomarkers. You need to understand what your current body composition is, because just your weight isn't that important. It matters what percentage of your body is muscle, bone, and fat. You need to take various measurements of everything from height to waist to biceps to chest. We want to measure all that so we know where we're starting. And this is something I'm not going to go into in detail, but we're learning a lot more about telomeres now. Telomeres are the little caps on the end of your chromosomes that every time your cells reproduce, those telomeres tend to shorten just a little bit. And when those telomeres get critically short, it's almost like the little cap on the end of your shoelace. When that thing falls off, the shoelace frays. The same thing happens with your chromosomes. And when those get too short, the chromosome frays, and then that cell dies. Well, what we're learning now is there are ways through various nutritional means, and there's some drugs in the pipeline too, but I don't think we're going to need the drugs, because there's some nutritional supplemental things that are coming through that are beautiful, that you can actually stop the shortening of your telomeres and maybe even lengthen them. Pretty exciting stuff. So much more on the horizon that I don't have time to go through in here, but suffice it to say, this is an exciting time to be alive, folks. So step 2, you need to, once you understand what your hormones and once you measure all those levels, then you need to optimize them. You need to restore your hormones back to where they were when you were youthful and feeling great. And this will require a prescription from a doctor, and it's got to be someone that really knows what's going on. It's not a one-size-fits-nobody single hormone fix. I see these so-called low T centers in different places where they can give you pellets and stuff, and they just focus on 1 or 2 hormones, and they do help people feel better. But I'm not talking about a quick fix. I'm talking about optimizing your body and learning how to thrive and how to feel better at 45 than you did at 25, and better at 55 than you did at 45. You need to optimize your body's hormone symphony. Let's think of testosterone as like the trumpet player in your symphony. You can't have one awesome trumpet player. If your oboe player is out of tune, or your drummer can't stay in time, you still got a lousy symphony. It's a big picture. You got to put the whole thing together. And again, understand that optimal is not the same as normal. People say, "Well, I want to be natural." Well, natural and normal are the same thing, and those do not equal optimal. Number 3, you got to eat and exercise deliberately. I told you earlier on that exercise and diet are not the key to health, and that's absolutely true. However, once your internal environment is optimized, now you can respond to exercise and diet, and that's when it really gets exciting. And also, the mistake most people make is either you're a fat slob and you never do anything for your body, and you're chronically undertrained, or if you work out, you tend to overtrain. Lee Haney was a bodybuilder that was making Mr. Olympia championships multiple times when I was in college. And as he got a little bit older, he started using the term stimulate, not annihilate. You don't go in there to annihilate the muscle. You stimulate it to grow. And that's what I'm teaching. Now that your body's optimized, it'll process your calories properly. You can shed the fat while gaining muscle. And now your body knows how to detox. So when I'm talking about detox, I'm not talking about doing a 10-day juice fast or alkaline lemon water. All those things have their places. I'm talking about when your body is operating optimally. You still, of course, should eat as clean a diet as you can, but now your body has the ability to daily detox itself. Step 4, once you got things basically in place, it's time to measure, monitor, and adapt. You need to measure and adjust according to your unique body's response. Your hormone optimization plan needs to be adjusted from time to time because you're unique. Again, there's not just a cookie-cutter thing that's going to work. And your body's response to exercise and nutrition needs to be constantly monitored. It's not like you can just go read the next exercise book or fitness book and get great results like the guy that wrote the book was, because you're not the guy that wrote the book, and his body responded to that, but you're a different body. And so, that's what we do. We go through it and find out what uniquely works awesome for you. Again, your exercise plan needs to evolve to fit your unique physiology. How you eat needs to evolve to fit your unique and improving body. It's like getting tailored clothes. You can go buy stuff off the rack and it can be decent, but if you want to look super sharp, you got to get it tailored. So now you know why. Now you understand, just to review the myths again, you understand why exercise is not the key to health. It's your hormones. You understand why eating healthier or cleaner or less hasn't been working for you. It's because internally your body isn't able to process that stuff correctly. You understand why getting older doesn't have to mean getting old. It's not how many years you live that's a problem. It's your internal environment. And you understand now that stress isn't the problem. Again, it's your failing internal environment that can't manage things correctly. And importantly, you understand that hormone optimization leads to independence, not dependence. You're already dependent. This leads you to independence and true health and thriving. So as I promised, I've now taught you how you can, this year, create a healthy, vibrant, ripped, awesome body while working out less than 5 hours a week and avoiding injuries. I can show you how your body can burn fat while you can still enjoy your food, how you can own your own body. And this is what's really critical. When I used to do a lot of diabetes care, I would tell a diabetic, I can teach you everything you need to know about insulin and blood sugar and all the things you got to do to manage yourself. But if you're coming to me as a diabetic and you're wanting me to make your diabetes to fix it and to help your blood sugar get under control, it's not going to happen. You got to own it. You have to understand when you sleep an extra hour at night, or when you wake up in the morning to a screaming kid, or when you have to go to work an hour early because something happened at work, whatever, you need to over time learn how those various situations will affect your insulin levels. Your blood sugar levels, and how much insulin you need to take to deal with that. You need to know when you're going to exercise, how that's going to affect your sugar, and you need to know how to adjust what you eat and how much insulin you take and how much exercise. Same thing with anti-aging is I can teach you everything you need to know, but ultimately you have to own it, and you have to learn what your unique body does. And that's why I love mentoring people and teaching them how to become awesome, for themselves. So now it's your turn. What are you going to do? You can keep driving your tired old VW Beetle. I'm talking about your body here. I'm talking about your life. Or are you ready to move over into a sleek Corvette? That's pretty easy, right? Pretty easy question. So now with your with your understanding of anti-aging, you can find the right doctor, and this is critical. You can go find a dietitian to help you sort out how to eat correctly, and you can find a professional trainer who sees the big picture. The trouble is, most doctors don't understand this, and even the ones that do, most of them do not do a comprehensive, individualized job of fixing it. Hiring a fitness trainer without restoring your hormonal balance is at best moderately helpful, and at worst downright damaging, because they're going to work you hard and end up putting you in stress overload and cortisol overload and making you worse. And a dietitian, dietitians certainly provide great value, but they can only teach you how to optimize your food intake. They can't make your body internally absorb it and utilize it correctly. That's something that has to happen from the inside out. And again, it's largely related to internal hormonal balance. So you can spend time and money trying to track down the right people that know their stuff, or you can collapse time. So how I can help? If you're ready, if you're interested in never again living the normal life, remember we talked about normal versus normal and natural, which is not the same as optimal. If you're ready to be done with that, if you're ready to truly thrive, let's talk. I have some time in the next few days, talk with you personally about how you can apply what we're learning today. And I'm excited to do this for you. And the cost is free. I'm not going to charge you for the phone consult. So who am I inviting to this free session? Number one, I want you to be fully committed, knowing that you're ready to make a major change. Number two, you got to be willing to apply what you're learning. I don't want to work with anybody that doesn't get tremendous results. So I carefully screen my clients. Finally, if you're looking for a magic pill that doesn't take any work on your part, this isn't it. This is going to take a ton of work, but you're going to get amazing results too. So who the session is not for, if you're just curious or gathering information, don't ask for a call. You can waste my time and yours too. If you're looking for some kind of cookie cutter solution that's cheap and ineffective, no sense getting me on the phone. If we do decide to work together, we'll get very clear on exactly where you are now, what your unique body needs, what's going to work for you moving forward. And you better believe it. I'm going to kick your butt and make you take action. You better be ready for fast transformation. Hang on tight, because here we go. So, you can go to this link below here, apply for a free diagnostic session. There'll be an application there that you can fill out and put some information in, and we'll schedule you if it all fits, and we'll get it going. Space is limited. I don't have unlimited space to do this with. In fact, I don't want to do this with a lot of people. I'm only taking select clients that are ready to make it happen. So let's go, man. You ready? Let's get her done. I appreciate your time today. I know you learned something awesome here. Whether we talk and work together, or whether you decide to let this be part of the information that gets you to the next step where you're ready eventually to work with me in the future, either way, have an awesome life.